Good morning, guys. Good afternoon. Hey, so we're gonna do a quick breakdown of yesterday's micro test, so you can understand, how these body systems and questions are being asked. So we're gonna go over the most missed, and you're gonna have your paper in front of you. You'll turn with the video, and then I go over it through the video, and then I reiterate what I'm talking about after the video is over. All right. All right, guys. Question two is one of the most missed. Now, if you just read the question through, it asks you to correctly identify two body systems that's working together. So literally, all you had to know was the body systems, okay, and what they did. And so if you knew what the body systems, what their function is, then you would know that B was the right answer because it's dealing with the immune system, the interglutamentary system, and the immune system as far as defending the body. The next question is going to be number three, but you got to understand on number three, you literally, if you use the justification process, you literally would have got the right answer by marking out F, G, and J. Okay, so let me show it to you. So after you read the question twice and underline important information and all that good stuff, then you look at the answer choices. The first answer choice deals with skeletal system. That isn't what the question was asking about. It's asking about how a rabbit can outrun a coyote. So the skeletal system don't have nothing to do with that because you gotta have muscles to move the body. The digestive system just breaks down food. So H would have been your correct answer. The endocrine system just gives you, just releases hormones. All right, yeah, could you release adrenaline and all that? Yeah, but you gotta have something to move your system, to move the rabbit's body. And so at that point, the respiratory and the muscle system is, the respiratory and the circulatory system to get oxygen to the muscles so they can breathe is the correct answer, okay? So you gotta kind of put yourself in the scenario with body systems because, like I said, we all part of the animal kingdom, and so we kind of naturally work the same as rabbits and coyotes and stuff as far as internal things go on and things working together. Now, I hope y'all picking up a trend right now. Like, if you studied the body systems where you knew circulatory, transport, blood and oxygen and so on, if you know the body systems, you are putting yourself in a higher chance of getting the answers right. But if you didn't do the first part, didn't master the first part of just knowing the body systems, how can you understand how they work together? The other thing is, if you just add yourself to some of these questions, then common sense would tell you what the answer is. But you got to do the justification technique. You got to mark out the answers. You gotta use your inferencing skills, okay, that we work on sometimes. All right, on this question, this probably was one of the hardest questions on the test because it talked about pathogens. Pathogens is nothing but diseases, trying to enter the body and get broke down. But if you understand the function of the immune system is to protect the body against diseases, and you read the question, your inferencing can kick in on this one as well. So, like I taught you in class, the immune system is the whole system that I taught you about defending the body as far as pathogens and antigens that's unknown to the body. The lymphatic system is a part of the immune system. So this whole passage right here talked about getting rid of something, defending the body, releasing stuff to defend the body. So quite naturally, your answer would have been A instead of B, C, and D, okay? Circulatory system don't defend against the body. Endocrine system just releases hormones. Digestive system breaks down stuff. Nervous system is just use, you feel stuff, it touches, it sends signals, okay? So you had, again, this was a reading intensive problem, and so I need y'all to get y'all focused on as far as reading the problem through. You can't look at this problem like, I'm just gonna guess. You have to read the problem through, okay? All right, we're moving on to number 6, okay? Number 6, let me explain something about number 6. Number 6, the only reason this was one of the lowest scoring questions on the micro test that I gave is because it's reading intensive. There was no graphs. There's nothing to look at. If you can focus in and read through, take your time and read through this problem, underline information that's important, okay, like the body system, nervous impulses and all that, you will get this. The other thing is, like, we just talking about responses to nervous. Like, if you touch a hot stove, quite naturally you're going to snatch your hand back. Well, what did you use to snatch your hand back? That's all this problem talking about. But we shut down because of the reading in it, okay? if you don't know a word, okay? If you don't know a word, then you have to sound it out. Like, you got to go back to the basics, all right? If the problem look too long, you got to get your focus on, okay? So you just got to read it and read it through. This is the only reason this problem was missed that much, because I done seen every one of y'all get a problem like this right during class. It was just reading. It was just reading. The answer choice was reading, and it caused you to think critically on each one before you marked out the answers. But if you'd have read each one and read each one in detail, like F, G, H, and J, then you would have knew that H is the answer, okay? So let's look. So again, what I'm talking about is reading intensive, okay? You had to read 2 to 3 sentences. You had to read 2 to 3 sentences just to get to the answer choices in the justification process. You cannot lose your focus, guys. You have to read this stuff. If you do not read it, then you run the risk of failing an easy problem. And this problem was ridiculously easy, okay? So when a person is suddenly cut by a sharp object, a nervous impulse is sent along a sensory neuron that to the spinal cord. The impulse immediately transmits through motor neurons to produce a response. Which of the following correctly identifies and describes this response? So if you're looking at it, it got to be H, because it says it is a reflex response that causes various muscles to contract in order to move away from the object. Okay, so like again, think about touching a hot stove. You gonna wait 10 minutes while the stove burning your hand, or you gonna snatch it back real fast? You're gonna snatch it back real fast, okay? So you know it couldn't have been A, is coordinating response that prevent injury. The injury already happened, so it can't be F, okay? It can't be G because it's not a learned response, and nothing like that. The infants have as small children, all right? It's just a reflex, okay? It's not innate. It's not in you, okay? And then J is not a voluntary response initiated after the impulse. So that means after the impulse, you've been hit with the, I touched the hot stove. Okay, now I'm gonna move my hand. Now it's a reflex. Reflexes save our life, all right? All right, guys, let's look at number 7. Number 7 is, now we got one more after 7. All right, let's look at number 7, all right? Turn your page to number 7. Now, number 7, this one is, it has your graph, but it's talking about hormones in the problem, okay? The release of something in the gonads, all right? So it's talking about a mouse with lesions, a mouse without lesions, and the release of hormones, and how does that affect everything in the immune system? So how is that likely to affect the mice with and without the hormone? So if you're just talking about hormones and releasing in an immune system, after you read the problem, you know it can be muscular and skeletal. You know it can be excretory and respiratory. You know it can be nervous and interglutamatery. Again, this problem goes back to you knowing directly what endocrine and immune system functions are. If you know all 12 functions of all the body systems, you get this problem right. That's why I started y'all out with learning the systems first. All right? You have to know the system. If you don't know the systems, these problems become extremely hard. If you know the systems and the function in which they do, these problems become extremely easy. Now, again, this is a reading intensive problem. You have to read through the problem. You can't skip it. You can't skip through the problem and think you're going to get it right, because you're going to miss valuable information, okay? You have to justify. Read it twice, underline important information, read the answer choices thoroughly, mark out the answer choices that doesn't make any sense, and then once you do that, you narrow it down to 2. You may even be, in some of you was able to narrow it down to 1, and that's your answer. But if you get it to 2, you got 50% chance. Your chances is 50% greater in getting the problem right. All right, you gotta. I'm giving you the secret, all right? But it's up to you. It's up to you to use it. I got last but not least. Let's turn to number 11. 11, okay? 11 was another one that you could have put yourself in as a scenario, okay? So we're looking at number 11. The first thing I'm gonna say about number 11 is it is a reading problem, reading intensive problem. You have to read through each one of these scenarios that they gave you. The whole problem is a scenario, then each one of the answer choices is a scenario. What scenario makes sense, okay? That's why I had y'all do homework in the way that I did. I didn't have y'all, hey, what is this body system? What is this pointing to? No, you had to make a scenario where you tie in 3 or 4 body systems together and make them work in unison, okay? So your homework would have directly helped you with this problem. Then knowing your body system would have directly helped you with this problem. But if you didn't know that, then, hey, Ms. Flores. Hey. All right, so it's asking you how foreign antigens got into the body or pathogens got into the body, all right? So F, chemicals enter the immune system through breakdown of the skin. That don't make no sense. You see what I'm saying? So you can mark that one out because you know what interglutamentary system is. It's the skin system, and if you think breaking down the skin gonna give you a disease as far as and go straight to the immune system, that's not how the body works. The immune system transforms the chemical. The immune system in the functions that I gave you never talked about transforming anything, all right? It released helper T cells and all this other stuff that the immune system does, but it never talked about transforming anything, so you could have marked out G. When a contaminated food is eaten, the immune system prevents the chemicals, the immune system prevents diseases, all right? It might not necessarily recognize chemicals that enter the body. Like we eat chemicals every day that bypass the immune system and make it all the way to the excretory system before we even know we ate it. So the only logical answer would be J. Chemicals enter the digestive system through contaminated food. Once in the body, the chemicals, contaminants impair the body's ability to fight off infectious diseases. So that's how it enabled the body to fight off infectious diseases. So guys, other than that, we did a great job on the test. We had a lot of high scores, but if you didn't do the things that I asked you to do, then we struggled. Or you didn't read the problem through, we struggled, okay? So you gotta do these things. Like y'all on the crest of greatness, we just gotta reach out and grab it now, okay? Because if we only had 4 or 5 missed problems that's bad, and it's all for me, it all got to do with just focusing and reading. But some of you guys don't know your body systems, but for the most part, you know your body systems, but you're not focusing and reading, then that's an easy correction, all right? Just have a good day. We got some other things to do. I'll talk to you later. Peace.